Hey, this is Ben Covich coming at you from Bangkok, Thailand, the capital of Thailand. And we escaped from COVID on November 21, 2022. It was a wild time. I was separated from my family for 40 days. I had left to lead an adventure travel trip in China. So my family's in China, Western China, and I was in Eastern China. I was leading a trip for 5 days for an international school in Eastern China. And just as I was away, the COVID lockdowns got crazy in China. And at that point, about 25% of China was in lockdown. Our city in Western China got locked down. I could not make it back home. I couldn't get in the city. The airport wasn't functioning. You couldn't even get out of the airport. If you went to the airport, there was no cars running. They locked the doors in our apartment complex. There was no way I could get home. And for that reason, my wife and kids could also not get out. So we were separated from each other for 40 days. I kept trying to get in every day, trying to check the travel regulations. Rose kept trying to get out, and we were just separated and locked out of each other for 40 days. That was pretty sad, and we spent a lot of money and time trying to figure out how to get back together. And eventually my wife just barely escaped out of the city. She had to go through many barriers, many barricades. She had to get on a very special bus to get to the airport, but she finally made it out. We were reunited after 40 days around November 20th, and then we got out of China on November 21. Since that time, we've been in Thailand, in Bangkok, and a couple other places on the beach. Here's some of that footage if you want to see what Thailand looks like. Okay, if you've ever seen pictures of Thailand with the beautiful white sand beaches and crystal blue seas, that is Krabi. Also an island outside of Krabi called Phi Phi Island. Krabi is a great holiday destination for those looking for a relaxing area in southern Thailand. With over 150 islands off its 150-kilometer long coastline, many of them with fantastic white sand beaches and brilliant turquoise waters, Krabi features jungle-covered interior, towering limestone cliffs, caves, waterfalls, and exotic wildlife. One of the best ways to experience the wildlife for us was to go snorkeling. Since we've been stuck in China for the last 3 years, we hadn't gotten out. So we figured it was time to relax and have some fun. On December 7th, it was my wife's 40th birthday. So we went snorkeling and saw some amazing sea turtles, sharks, and some beautiful coral. Bangkok City, or known by the local Thai people as Krung Thep, is the capital and chief port of Thailand. As the most visited city in the world, with a local population of 11 million people, it is the only cosmopolitan city in a country of small towns and villages, and is Thailand's cultural and commercial center.
When you visit Bangkok, think shopping malls, fancy hotels, Buddhist temples, and endless street markets, some of which are floating on boats. Speaking of boats, Bangkok is largely built on recovered swamp, and the city itself used to be known as the Venice of the East. Bangkok is a city built on and around a network of canals, just like Venice, and apparently it has as many canals as its Italian counterpart. Although Thailand is technically a predominantly Buddhist country, Bangkok is actually a really great place to celebrate Christmas with your family. Every shopping mall has lights and Christmas trees. You can do face painting, cookie decorating, gingerbread house making, and we did something Christmassy almost every day of the year, and the Christmas parties for both families and single adults are really nonstop. With a city population of 150,000 people, Chiang Mai is way smaller and much more laid back than Bangkok. This is the home to digital nomads, backpackers, and all sorts of travelers who have come to enjoy the slow pace of life and cooler temperatures in the mountains of northern Thailand. Located near the border of Laos and the Golden Triangle, Chiang Mai is famous for having over 50 elephant sanctuaries. We chose to spend the day feeding elephants, bathing them, and just hiking next to them, and our family had a ton of fun.
So we've had a great time in Thailand. It's our first time out of the country in 3 years. We've kind of been stuck in the country for about 3 years. We could have left, but flights are extremely expensive and it was really, really difficult, if not impossible, to get back in. So China is just starting to open up now after 3 years of being extremely tight, and it just got tighter and tighter and tighter. They would close a whole city, 20 million people down for 10 COVID cases. My wife was locked in her house with no access to groceries or shopping or anything. The government delivered her vegetables for 30 days. It got really crazy tight until the point that people were just about to burst at the seams from all the stress. And just at the moment we thought we were all going to break and it was all just going to come crumbling down on us, and all the economy had shut down for a month. Then China opened up, and China is just starting to open up to Thailand, to tourism, and they may even start issuing tourist visas in 2023. We are hopeful that people are going to be able to start coming into China. Anyway, we're headed back to China. All we need to get back is a 48-hour COVID test, and everything that China's done for the last 3 years, they just took it down in a few days. They had established this entire QR code, WeChat code, green QR code, health code system, saying whether or not you had COVID, whether or not you had contact with anyone with COVID. You had to show that code to go anywhere, to get into a mall, to get into an airport, even to to go to a bank, to do anything, you had to show that code. And they just took it all down overnight. Now China has removed all these restrictions, all these COVID tests, everything about vaccines and COVID and quarantine and lockdowns that they've been so adamant on, which has basically been our entire life for the last 2 years. And they just removed it all in a few days. And now China's basically open and you don't need any of that to travel. Consequently, now about 1 billion Chinese people now have COVID because as China removed the zero tolerance policy, it all just went crazy and everyone got COVID at one time. Not surprisingly. So China is kind of back where America was in 2020, 2021, as far as everyone having COVID. Right around Christmas time, that was kind of the peak of the season in China, and it's starting to decrease now. But it's just crazy that China was so close to it for 2 years and had this super strict zero tolerance policy. And then overnight, they removed all the barriers and regulations, and then everyone got COVID, and now it's back to normal. So that's the China update. We're headed back to China from Thailand. We've had a great break, and we're ready to jump back into 2023.